I wish that a decade ago someone had told me that you don't have to be an artist to do nail art. Nail art is such a huge part of our industry now, and it can be really, really daunting to try and keep up with people that have incredible imaginations and endless amounts of talent. But the thing I've discovered is that you do not have to be good at art. You don't have to have an imagination. You just need to have good technical ability, and that is easily learned. So I love art. I did a lot of art subjects in school. However, I was always that student who just scraped by and just got pass marks in art. I never ever remember a compliment about any of my artwork in high school, but I just really liked doing it, and I have learnt through doing nails that what I liked about art was the technical ability. It was getting things right and doing really technical work, which is probably why I didn't score very well in my School C portfolio, but either way, it means that I can now teach you that you also don't have to be scared of having to do good artwork, because you can learn it, and it's a technical ability. The thing is that clients will often bring you a picture. I've got one here which is credited to www.studio. So I just found this on Pinterest, and clients will bring in a picture and say they want this. Now, I do strongly encourage you to try and adapt a design to be your own, so change it up a little bit. For example, we're going to do this one here on the left. You could, for example, just do it from here up and have it be on the tip of the nail, so that it would just be half the head from the tip up, and that could be the thing that makes it different. It could just be a different base color. It could be adding a little bow tie underneath. I don't know. I told you I don't have a very good imagination, but try and switch it up a little bit. Whether you switch it up or not, do always credit the artist. So try and find images where someone has been credited, and then credit them when you show pictures of your work. So make sure on Instagram and Facebook you tag in and link the original artist and say how much you were inspired by their work. So you don't have to have an imagination. I don't come up with very many ideas myself. The only original stuff I've ever really done has been where someone has brought in a pair of shoes or a dress or something they wanted me to match art to, and I just copy the design on the dress or the shoes, but I'm not very good at thinking of stuff by myself. So I'm not saying that this is easy. It's not. What I am saying is that you don't have to be an artist to do well at nail art. You can just be a good nail technician with good technical ability. So one thing that you do need is a really good brush. I highly recommend that you use natural fiber, not synthetic. Synthetic brushes are a lot cheaper, but they also won't do a good job, and you do get what you pay for. The brush I'm using today is from Nailed It NZ, and the reason I'm using it is because I know that this video is aimed at people who aren't necessarily qualified, and to get Nailed It NZ brushes, you don't have to be qualified. So you can go to shopnaileditnz.com, and you can also use the promo code Monaco to get 10% off your order, and this is the best quality brush I've used under $50. So these brushes are actually quite cheap. They are natural fiber, they're decent quality, they're quite light, which is one thing that brings the price down. I do prefer working with a heavy brush, but of any brush I've ever seen under $50 that isn't like a massive investment, this is my favorite brush. So for you guys that aren't necessarily qualified nail techs, this is a great option for you as a good brush. The other thing is to practice working on a medium. So for me, I've done this base in gel polish. It's 2 cured coats of Artistic Color Gloss and Bride, and there's no point even practicing on this plastic, on paper, on anything else, because this is what I most commonly paint onto, is cured gel polish. So I need to be painting onto the same medium when I practice, because when you paint onto cured gel polish compared to shiny plastic, compared to rough acrylic, compared to whatever else you might paint on, it will work differently. The next thing that is important is what you use to paint with. So I'm going to be using, you can see I love it. I don't have a brand new one to make this video beautiful, but it's acrylic paint. It's actually a water-based paint that I'm going to use because you get really fine lines with one stroke. So you can get a really fine line, you can get one stroke marking, there's no mucking around kind of thing. But other really common things that nail techs use would be gel paint or gel polish. Yeah, like those things though aren't readily available to non-nail techs. So until you are done with your qualification, if you do choose to become a nail tech, then water-based paint's a really good option. Now you do need to have the technical ability to paint fine lines. I'm not going to teach you the ins and outs of that today just because that's kind of like a whole other video. And what I want you to take away from this video is just that it's possible. It's hard. This is a hard design, but nothing about it is artistic. It's all technical. So I have loaded my brush with water-based paint. And in this design, the first thing I want to do is look and see what's easiest. What's the most recognizable shape? Sometimes it's the most central shape, like where would you begin? On this one, you can see a perfect diamond here, and for me, I feel like that's the easiest shape to paint. With other designs by the same artist, on the mouth, I would think that this shape is the easiest just because it's the most recognizable for me and I can build off it with the lower lip and then the bottom of the upper lip and then the teeth and so on. With this, I would say the easiest line is the wrist. I can do that. It's centered. It's pretty easy. You want to look for the easiest, most central, most recognizable shape and then paint that. The painting of it is a technical ability, not artistic. So I'm going to paint a diamond, bearing in mind that I am well practiced at straight lines. I don't know if they'll go in the right place. I've never painted this design before. I looked it up on Pinterest about 20 minutes ago. I found 4 that I thought might be technically challenging, and then the girls in our pro group on Facebook voted for the one that they thought was the most challenging. So I've never painted this before. I'm making it up as I go along for you because I thought that would kind of be the most realistic compared to what would happen in a real salon. Now with this nose here, it's important to see that the other end of the diamond is down here at the bottom of his nose, so it's actually a symmetrical diamond. If you cut across this way, it's the same. So that's one thing that you have to learn to look for is proportions. A lot of people would see that this half of the nose looks smaller and paint the bottom half of the diamond smaller. So I'm going to go from the center down and put a little mark where I'm going to aim for. And then paint from this corner down and this corner down. And that fine line work is something you gotta practice, but I promise you it's not artistic ability. It's no different than practicing how to do an acrylic nail, how to file a nail, how to paint gel polish. It's no different. It's a technical skill. Now, normally at this point, I like to do things like fill in the little nose because it makes me feel good about myself because I know I can do this. So I'll do that bit, and then my job is to look for the next easiest line. Now, to me, that looks like the top of his head because I can paint straight across. I want to make sure I get the proportions right. So you look from the corner here down. Does it meet the corner of the diamond? Not quite. So we're looking to paint out just slightly wider than the widest point of the diamond. So I'm going to look slightly out, up, and across. It's not the straightest line in the entire world. That's alright. From here, where is the next easiest line? For me, I think that it is actually this line and this line. The only reason I say that is because these lines follow this line here. They're parallel, but just a bit over. So if I can paint this line, I just need to jump a bit and then paint the next line on the same angle. and I know that it needs to come out slightly further than the top of the headline. Again, not artistic, just a lesson learned from building technical ability. So I follow this line, jump up a bit, follow this line, and go slightly further than the head. And same on this side. I'm going to turn my hand around to do this because my brush will move better that way. Alright, so then the next part is this line here is just a game of connect the dots because I've already put 2 anchors in place. That's what I call, like, these 2 points are anchored. I can easily move between the 2 of them. So I just connect the dots. Alright, what's the next easiest part? Well, at this point I think that I want to do the bottom of the ear. The reason I think that the bottom of the ear is the next easiest is not because it's easy, but because a lot of other things come off it. So if I know that it can't be the same angle as this line, it has to come out a little more, but I know that this eye is pretty horizontal, like pretty straight across, and the eye starts at the corner of the diamond. So if I come across a bit, I can see that I need to jump up slightly to create that angle. I hope you see what I mean. It's kind of connect the dots. This line is a tricky line because it's on a new angle, but I find a new anchor point. How can I relate that? So if I go to the side of the diamond where the eye is going to eventually start, notice that this point, which I already have, is roughly halfway through the eye. So I come out. That's the edge of my eye. And I want this new line to be slightly higher than the edge of my eye. So I can paint from here to slightly higher than the edge of my eye. I can do the same on the other side. And again, I want to pull backwards. It's a little easier. So slightly higher, pull back, and that makes it kind of easy to put the ears in. The next thing that I'm going to sort of take note of is that these lines in the middle of the ears are exactly straight up and down. So that's like a gift. That's nice and easy, and they start halfway through the line I just painted. So I can take them as tall as I want. Don't feel like you have to get the picture exact. Tell your clients that it will be your interpretation of the picture. So I can go as high as I want. I'm not going to worry too much about making that exact, but I know that I start halfway along the line I just painted and that I go straight up. So I'm going to be halfway, straight up, straight line. The only thing I have to do is on this side, make it the same height. So again, I put a little mark in and straight down. Now that line's a little thicker than I would prefer it to be, but I could clean it up. There are methods for you to be able to clean this up. Again, I'm not going to do that for this particular video because that's not the point of this video. But just know that there are ways that if you make little mistakes like that, you can clean them up using professional products. Alright, I can finish the ears because this line here is another direct join the dots. So I can join the dots on this one and here too. And then the bottom doesn't quite, it has another little angle in it. I personally don't think the position of that angle is going to affect it too much as long as it's lower than halfway. So see how the top of the head comes out and it's below that point. So just make sure that that happens and don't be too worried about it beyond that. So here's my marker. Here's my line, and I can finish the other side of the ear. Then on the other side, I'm going to turn it just slightly. I try, even though I'm working on a wheel, I try not to turn too much because I couldn't turn a client too much. So about here, there's my line, there's my dots. Alright, so you can see quite a bit of progress. It's not artistic, it's all technical ability. It's all learnable in classes. You don't have to have a natural gift. Because I sure don't. The eyes are going to be fairly easy to put in from here because they are straight across. That curve is a little trickier to paint, but it's no more artistic than anything else we've done. It's just a technical ability to paint a curve instead of a straight line. So I'm going to put in my eye using the marker I placed earlier. And you'll see in this picture it has a little cat's eye, so like two little eyelashes almost. One of them comes straight out the same width as the outside. I just painted my phone. And the other one tilts up. So we've got that in place. Okay, the bottom of the face. What I would do for this is use my markers again. So the trickiest part is going to be his chin because it's kind of floating in mid-air. There's very few anchors I can get to with it. So just to be able to build around it, I'm going to put a little marker in where I think the bottom of his chin is going to land. And I know that this corner, his jawline here, is pretty level with the bottom of his nose. So I'm constantly looking for markers and anchors. So I am going to, I know that it's on an angle, so it's not straight up and down from his temple. So I need to go from his temple down and in a bit at the same level as the bottom of his nose. So down from his temple to the level of his nose, in a bit, put my marker, and then I can fill my line, which is quite a long line. It's a little bit daunting, but and I need to do the same on the other side, so it'll be, that's actually too long. So it'll be about level. So roughly straight across from the temple in a bit. There's my marker. Just check that it seems to be about the same width. It'll never be completely symmetrical. This, I mean, you can work your hardest, but it's unlikely. Like I can see already that my one's going to be a little bit longer in the face than this one. That's okay. You can practice at it if you have a client that's really pedantic, but honestly they're going to be so impressed that you could do it at all that you don't beat yourself up over it. So I'm going to put in this long line. And then we can bring the jaw in. So I already have my marker down the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is join my angles. And then just soften this one. I could use another product to take out the point in his chin, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so on the home stretch, I can put in his little mouth pretty easily because we spent our whole childhood drawing cats and noses and mouths. Now to fill in his cheeks and give him cheekbones, there's a central point which is halfway between. So you can see the central point. It's halfway between the bottom of his nose and the bottom of his jawline. So the bottom of his nose, the bottom of his jawline. There's my marker. Halfway, there's my marker. And all I need to do is go from the top of his nose to the marker, from halfway across his jaw to the marker, and from halfway here to the marker. Don't overcomplicate it. Like, just look for your anchors and your markers and join the dots. That's all it is. And the other side. One thing that I know that I've done wrong is I've put this line here to the bottom of the nose, not the top, and it's completely changed the shape of the face. So I'm going to really quickly tidy that up so that I can replace it. All I need to do is go back in and fix the angle by taking it to the top of the nose instead of the bottom. And I can change these angles too so that they go straight down and the face will look much better. So you can see that even though I messed it up, the world didn't end, and we can fix it. Alright, so then I grab my brush again, and these angles should now go straight down. And the whole shape of the face changes and it all looks so much better. So that just shows the importance of your marker points and your anchors and everything. I want her eyes to have a little bit less white, so I'm going to put, just kind of close them in a bit. I don't know if it'll make her creepier or, but that's what I want to do. Like you can see it's a little bit darker in her eye anyway on the picture, so that's what I wanted to do. Alright, so at no point did I say it was easy, but I did say it was possible. If I was on a client and I wanted to be really, really particular about my work, I could absolutely spend hours cleaning up and redoing lines that weren't perfect. And if someone's paying a good amount of money for this nail, then absolutely I will do that. But what I will do if I don't have the time to do that is I set reasonable expectations. So if a client brought this nail in but there was only going to be a maximum of 5 minutes to do it, I would say to her that I believe this is a 10-minute nail. I'm going to have about 5 minutes to do it. Is it okay with you that it will look good, but I won't have time to make it as meticulously perfect as I would like to? Because by the time you get to that point with those clients, I know my ability. I know that I can do this nail. I also know that I need more time to turn it into this nail to make it actually perfect and exact with lines that are all the exact same weight and all of that sort of thing. So I know what to tell a client to get them excited about it and to set reasonable expectations. The worst thing you can do is set high expectations that you can't meet. So it's not perfect. However, I wish that a decade ago when I was thinking of becoming a nail tech, someone had told me that I could learn how to do all of this and didn't have to put so much pressure on myself to be an artist. Here at Monaco Nail Academy, we offer beginner level classes for aspiring nail technicians. The Foundation Certificate in Nail Technology is a 16-day comprehensive nail technology class that covers everything that you need to know about being a nail technician. For $3,499 or 6 monthly payments of $649, you'll not only get the 4 modules of in-class training, but access to our online interactive workbook, our student Facebook group which has live videos every week to help you get your way through your qualification, and support from our educators 7 days a week. If you sign up to the Foundation Certificate in Nail Technology before the 28th of July for completion anytime before the end of the year, not only will we help you on your journey to becoming a nail tech, but we will also give you a $500 shopping spree across all of our wholesale ranges. Check out the details of our course at www.monaco.ac.nz or give us a call on 09574 5573 if you have any questions.